Well, I'm in my old pickup truck. Gonna run it around the block and charge up the battery. It's a 1988 Ford F100 with not even 20,000 original miles on it. Here we go down this road. It's a Flathead 6 engine, 300 horsepower, and what else? It's the truck was given to me. Guy just signed the title over to me. I bought a house from him, and it had been sitting out in the driveway under an old tree for years. And a friend and I went and repainted it the original color, cleaned out the gas tank, tuned it up, and knock on wood, I've never had any problems out of this truck, and it still runs like a scalded dog. This engine was the second generation from the original Flathead 6 that Henry Ford sold to Nazi Germany that enabled them to supply fuel to their tanks in the Blitz through the Netherlands and France. But without this Flathead 6 and the torque that it had, Germany wouldn't have been able to refuel their tanks. Henry Ford, prior to that, was the only American to appear in Hitler's famous book, second edition, Mein Kampf, or My Struggle. But and I think is it Grand Rapids, Michigan? One of those Michigan cities has the highest Muslim population in America per capita. I mean, it's like 90% or some kind of stuff like that. And I guess they felt, since they were anti-Zionists, that they'd be welcome in a Henry Ford's city. It wasn't Grand Rapids. It was another city outside of Detroit there. I can't recall at this point the name of it. It might come to me in a minute. Maybe you could just get out the middle of the road there, brother man. There's my old buddy Amrut from India. Lives back there, Amrut Patel. But there's a lot of things about wars that are never told to the public for various reasons. Of course, secrecy is one of them. Normally it's 50 to 60 to 70 years when, all the involved parties are long gone, that there's any transparency at all when it comes to Korea, Vietnam, World War II, the Iraqi war, etc., etc., Afghanistan, Syria, even recently Venezuela, for national security reasons, which is, you know, that's the government's job, is to keep secrets. Kind of like the movie about the Enigma machine, you know, in the book it was probably taken from, called Bodyguard of Lies. It came out, I think, in the late 70s, but it was all about how the Brits cracked the German code, but then they had to lie about it and not let anyone know that they had cracked the code. And one example they gave was the bombing of Coventry, England, and they had basically a 48-hour notice, but they didn't evacuate the population, or they didn't send additional anti-aircraft weapons to the area because they didn't have a plausible way that the Germans could reason for that drastic move. And they said, well, if we evacuate large areas of Coventry, they'll know that we've cracked their code. So they let, I think it was like 30,000 British, somewhere in that range, 30,000 British citizens died in that air raid, all to protect the fact that they had broken the Enigma code. So war's hell, dog. First casualty of war is the truth. Especially if you have the truth and your enemy doesn't. If you spill the beans, so to speak, you could possibly lose the war. And naturally, you know, family members would regret that, and your citizens would be outraged. So that's why they wait 50, 60, 70 years to release that kind of data, if it's ever released at all. Well, we're skating on down the road now. We're going over the Causeway. About 50 miles an hour in a 45. Feel like we're going about 200 miles an hour. Well, the little flasher up here says 56, 54. But we got down to the speed limit, I hope. We'll run over here and see if my brother-in-law's at home. He lives over here on the rich side of the water. And I may have to interview him when I get there. I am filming this with Osmo Pocket 3 and a magnetic stand on my dashboard. I also have I have a wide angle lens on the device, magnetic removable lens, or filter they call it. However, that's pretty cool. I'm anxious to see what kind of footage the footage looks like. I can tell the difference between their so-called wide angle filter and just the regular lens. They do have an anamorphic lens for the Osmo Pocket 3 now, but it's it ain't bad. It's like $50. But some people, well, it don't look like it keeps on. Some people don't like the you know, they say it's not truly anamorphic lens, or however you pronounce it. Get some oscillation in the engine here. That ain't good. Well, Keefy wasn't home, so I'm no wonder I'm in third gear. That'll do it. It's standard transmission. Yeah, leaving it in third gear when you're idling basically will definitely put a strain on your transmission. I got the camera facing forward here to see how it picks up on the traffic and the different angles of the light. Got a small crack in my muffler that I need to get either patched up or replace the muffler. Actually, it's not the muffler, it's the tailpipe itself. This body of water is called Pelahatchie Bay. It feeds into the Ross Barnett Reservoir. It's called Pelahatchie Bay because it's on Pelahatchie, what they call Pelahatchie Creek, which fed into the reservoir back in the day. This was a railroad track probably 35, 38 years ago. And they pulled it up and built a road, a causeway, where the railroad track was. But the railroad track was a spur line that ran to Fannin, Mississippi, to my grandfather's cotton gin and lumber mill. And he delivered lumber to Fort McCain in Grenada, Mississippi, and built the barracks in Grenada, Mississippi. Was made with his lumber. No doubt due to his friendship or relationship with Senator Eastland at the time. At least that's family rumors. And but they eminent domained a lot of this land, and back in the early 60s when they built the reservoir as a water supply for Jackson. You can't eminent domain for a recreation lake. So they put in a spigot over here and said it was for water for the capital city, Jackson, Mississippi. Of course, they never drew a gallon of water out of here for drinking water. But then again, you know, that's politics for you. If the government wants something, they're going to get it. Because we've bought them more guns than we got, and they control the judges because they are the government. But other than that, how do you like America? I mean, there's worse places to live. I got a good friend, Amrut, over here that just sold a very expensive property in his hometown, Satyam, India. I think it was $200,000 or $300,000, and he had to kick back the sheriff $30,000 to wire him the money. Of course, they showed it selling for like $40,000, and they do that, and then the sheriff handles the cash transaction if you kick him back about 10%, and that's the way they avoid property taxes in the country of India. India's economy is about 80% dark money or gray economy. That's why India is not a world power today, generally speaking, because they don't have the tax base for their infrastructure. Hell, they're still running around on British railroads that were built over 100 years ago. And they don't have a whole lot of airports and things like that. But every country has got their good things and their sketchy things. There's no perfect government because men humans are the government, and there are no perfect humans. All you can do is choose the lesser of two evils when it comes to power and control. Gotta pay attention to driving better. Almost blocked that car right there, but I didn't quite do it. Well, I'm hoping I've gotten the battery charged a little bit on my own Ford. I take it out for a little ride every 3 or 4 weeks just to keep the battery charged. And I love this old truck. I'll walk around and video it when I get up here and park it. This is about right where this truck was sitting when the guy gave me the title to it. Of course, it had a cracked windshield, and it had a calcified or whatever fuel tank. It's got dual fuel tanks back here. It's got one there and one there. But, I didn't get the door shut. But, it's a pretty good old looking truck. It was painted about, I don't know, I painted it and a buddy of mine about 15 years ago. And it still runs like a scalded dog. It ain't all rusted out. You know, I love this old truck. And it just hadn't got all those damn computers and shit on it. But anyway, that's our trip for today. See you later.